Hey, black women. Hey, you're at work and you're alone in a room. Who would you rather walk in right now? You don't know what it is, a white man or a white woman.
There's this controversial conversation that has gone up with a black queen coming to ask with this, what would you rather pick? Stemming from the conversation with either a bear or a man, the conversation where they ask women, if you're stuck in the woods, who would you rather pick, a man or a bear? This is where this conversation stems from. So this black queen came on the internet to ask black women, who would you rather be in a room with? If what you're presented with is a white woman and a white man, who will you pick? And this just strike a bigger conversation because most black women, okay, were picking the white men, and they were stating their reasons why they would pick the white men. But this also did not sit well with white women, saying that I thought we were women, we're in this together. Why would you people say you will pick a white man, a male, over us women? And this has struck a bigger conversation about the dynamic between black women and white women, especially in the workspace. Hey guys, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. So with that all said, guys, let's go check out what the sister have to say, and let me know if you agree or disagree with what she said. Let's go check it out, and then we'll come back and talk more. But subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Okay, so let's go check out what she has to say.
Hey, white women. I know y'all are getting real excited about the man versus bear conversation. I get it. But I just want us to sit in our hut of humility real quick and know that this is the same thing, same-ish thing as me asking, hey, black women. Hey, you're at work and you're alone in a room. Who would you rather walk in right now? You don't know what it is, a white man or a white woman. You're in a conference room alone. You have to be with one or the other. Which one is it going to be? Now, be careful how you feel about this, because how did man feel when we picked bear, okay? All right, women, I just want us all to just be in our proper placement. I love the conversation. I just, you know what I'm here for. That's it.
Okay, so let me know what you think about what she said down in the comment section. And if you are a black woman, who will you pick, a white man or a white woman to deal with in a workplace? Who will you rather pick? And if you're a white woman, how do you feel about black women saying they will pick a white man over a white woman? We want to know your thought down and your thought process down in the comment section. Okay, so let's go check out people's thought, because this has struck a bigger conversation for both white women and black women to have this conversation about the dynamic between these two races, and which I find this conversation, because you guys know I support women. I'm here for, oh, you know what, women, we need to stand up for each other. But seeing this dynamic, how black women feel more safe with a white man than a white woman. Anyway, guys, let's go check out people's response to it. Then we'll come back and talk more.
One of my favorite creators on this app, White Woman Whisperer, posed a sub-question to the man versus bear question, which was, black women, you are alone in a conference room. Who do you want to walk in? A white man or a white woman? And the answer overwhelmingly has been white man. And there are a lot of white women in the comments angry, vitriolic, that she dared pose this question, that the answer dare be men instead of women, because we want to think of ourselves as better, right? I just want to ask you, I want to invite you to this. If you are mad about that question, if you are feeling vitriolic about people saying that white women are doing as much harm as white men, where do you feel that in your body? Where is that coming up for you? If you are angry about this, if you are feeling powerful emotions about that, where are you feeling that? Because that is where you are holding misogyny and racism in your body. And deconstruction is not just a matter of the mind, it's a matter of processing it in your body. That's an invitation to learn about yourself.
I 110%, if given a choice in an office environment between a white man and a white woman, based on my personal experiences, my lived experiences, I would 110% choose a white man. I saw Lisa's video, brilliant. She breaks it down so expertly. So does White Woman Whisperer, who I also saw her video. I've seen both of them. I don't really have to say too much. So what I'm going to do is explain my perspective, coming both from the fitness industry and corporate America. I have been in both spaces for the majority of my working career, my professional career. And in every single instance of somebody lying on me, backstabbing me, I just have to be very aware of what's happening around me. It has always been, more often than not, I've had negative experiences with white women in that capacity. Followed by that are non-Black women of color. Very simply put, the vast majority of my working and professional experiences has been in predominantly white spaces. When it comes to white men, they are the devil. I know what I'm going to get from white men. I know the reaction I'm going to get. White women, however, at least in my professional experiences, and I want to make that very clear, in my professional experiences, I've had good relationships with these people. I've worked with them before. We have a good rapport. We are friendly. And then something happens and immediately it is my fault. I'm thrown under the bus. I'm lied on. It is based on those experiences where I, myself, and I know other Black women, we have learned to cover our bases, CC everybody, get everything in writing, get everything documented. A lot of the mental gymnastics we have to go through and survive in workspaces is a direct reaction and result of our experiences with white women. And to close this, I will share one story. The first and last time I was ever called aggressive in a professional working environment. I'll try to keep this to less than a minute. So very long story short, my supervisor, there was me and another woman. She's a white woman. She was an older white woman. Her and I worked on the same team underneath him. When he would leave, when he would go out on leave, he would leave me in charge. And he would leave me in charge because I'm a very type A, detail-oriented person. Again, though, the reason why I'm like that is, I don't like sloppy work, okay? So you ain't gonna get sloppy work from me. But also I am like that because I understand that in any environment, if there's a question of who did this wrong, who didn't do what they were supposed to do, it's gonna come back on me. So I'm a very detail-oriented person. He left me a specific set of instructions to do. I execute them. I come in the next day, my white co-worker, we'll call her Linda. We'll call her Karen. That's the name I remember. Karen went back behind me, messed up the work that I had did. A higher up intercepted the email she was not supposed to send, and it ended up becoming a huge situation. And I only realized the situation it had become because I get an email from that higher up like, Sasha, what is this? What did you do? And you know why I got the email? Because she signed my name to it. And so I'm confused because I'm like, what the heck is going on? I wasn't even at the office at that time. I had left. I had signed off for the day. Our supervisor comes back in and I'm explaining the situation to him. And this woman starts crying. He asked her why she went behind my back and did the work that I had already duplicated and gotten it incorrect and then lied on me, signed my name to something that she messed up. He asked her why she did that. And she lied on me and said, well, I was trying to ask Sasha for help and she wasn't giving me the response that I needed. And I just felt like she was being really aggressive towards me. Excuse me? I spoke to her to let her know that I had taken care of this and I was leaving for the day and she didn't need to do anything after that. And this woman alleges that I was being aggressive towards her. I looked right at her, my supervisor standing right there. I looked her dead in the eyes and I said, I had never before in my life ever been called aggressive. I am not an aggressive person. I'm very direct and I explicitly told you what we were supposed to do and that I handled it. I was not aggressive towards you. I do not appreciate you calling me that. Don't ever call me aggressive again because you don't know the weight of that word when it comes to being a Black woman in this environment. And now my supervisor, he's a white man. So immediately he's like, oh snap, I heard the HR words. This is a hostile environment. So he immediately intervened. Everything got settled. He apologized on her behalf and she got fired about 2 months after that. All of this to say, this is a white woman that I had great conversation with, great communication with. We were on the same team. I'm not thinking anything of it until the moment she messes up and it's time to take accountability. Instead of her taking accountability, what does she do? Throw me under the bus. I tried to keep that under a minute, but I guess it wasn't going to happen. All of this to say that unfortunately, I know I'm not alone here. I don't want to speak for all Black women, but I do know that there are a fair amount of Black women who, if given the option, if they're sitting in a conference room and they're debating whether they want a white man or a white woman to come through that door, I'm choosing a white man. That is just based off my lived experiences.
Black women, you are alone in a conference room. Who do you want to walk in? A white man or a white?
I really appreciate this creator for making this video for a lot of different reasons, and acknowledging how I've been feeling for quite some time as someone who escaped a toxic workplace that was due to bullying by white women in corporate America. And ironically enough, one of the best bosses I've ever had in my life was a white man in corporate America. I've had great white women too, but more often than not really. With that said, I've been doing a lot of thinking as to why I think white men and black women, not only in dating, make great couples, but also with white men being like their leader, their boss, their team lead. Why it's not as toxic as white women. And hear me out, but I think it's because white men just simply know their place in society is always going to be number one. They know that they're always going to get the job over anyone else. They know that they're always going to be seen as like the ideal candidate, the ideal working person, no matter what. And I've been thinking that simply like the existence of a black woman on their team, even if she's a gunner, even if she's going after everything, is never going to threaten him. Like, he's non threatened, meaning that he can give away every resource from mentorship to sponsorship to accolades, and he's still going to be ahead of her, which is why he's able to give those things without feeling like it's ever going to take away from him. And specifically, I think white women, or we've also, black women, have had horror stories with other black women, is that it feels like the person who is our leader, who's supposed to uplift us and give us access and mentorship and sponsorship again, when they're doing it, I feel like they feel like it's taking away from their career or their essence. So they hold those opportunities back. They hold the praise back. They hold the promotions back. They hold the role changes back because they want it for themselves. And I feel like white men don't do that because they don't have to do it, because they will always get it. Even if they give that one opportunity to the next black girl, they know that their next opportunity is going to be equal and likely better just because of their position in society. And I think we should like really explore this a little bit more about who we're working for and what they're going to be able to offer us. Because like for me right now, as someone who is like transitioning careers, I'm specifically looking for a team lead or a mentor who's going to be able to open up doors for me. And if that's not something that you can do, I don't really want to work for you.
So there was a really interesting video made by White Woman Whisperer. I tried to stitch it and the audio didn't record, so I'm going to try to record it again here. Tag her below because you should go watch her video. But she basically poses the question, or opens up this discussion, this bear versus man discussion, to black women in asking, okay, if you're in an office, who would you rather walk in, a white man or a white woman? And she said that the collective answer would be a white man. And a lot of women are getting offended. A lot of white women are getting offended because they're like, oh my gosh, what a man could do to you is so much worse than a woman. Like this is divisive. But like, you're not getting it. The reason why black women would choose a white man over a white woman is for the same reason that women as a collective, especially white women, would choose the bear over the man. It is the danger you know versus the danger you don't. And like historically, the under the surface racism that white women have for black women has caused death and destruction and is absolutely a humongous danger, because black women know, like in our society, that a white woman's accounting of things will always be taken more seriously than a black woman's. So she has to have like a distance because of personal safety. Now, I've seen this play out in my real life. I live in the South. I go to a lot of like influencer with like large groups of people, and I can see the difference between women of color who know me and women of color who don't, and how they interact with me and like the guard that they have up. And that's not offensive to me because it's common sense. I absolutely expect them to be apprehensive of a white woman in the South because they don't know what they're getting. But just as the whole point of the bear versus man conversation is to make men understand that women are innately apprehensive and cautious around all men, the question that White Woman Whisperer was posing is to make white women understand the cautiousness that black women have around white women. That sort of like being scared of me before I give them a reason not to is not offensive to me, because it is absolutely my responsibility to prove to these women that I am a safe person, not the other way around. You cannot like bully someone into trusting you with their personal safety. And that's a lesson for the men on the bear conversation too.
Rather walk in right now. You don't know what it is, a white man or a white woman.
See, now when I heard that, I thought, that really sucks. I can definitely see how that can be a problem, because I actually listen to and respect people who have different lived experiences than I do and have a better understanding about the types of systemic oppression that they live under than I do, because I don't experience. And rather than arguing with that person who has a much better understanding about the types of danger they're in based on lived experience, about why I'm one of the good ones and not everyone is like that, I just shut up and listen and learn and don't ask that person for emotional labor to teach me. I look at the information that's already out there and take that initiative upon myself because I want people to feel safe around me, because I care about others. And I don't tell that person or anyone else who is in that position that, well, I'm one of the good ones, I'll defend you. I will just let my actions speak for themselves. It's actually that easy. You can just be respectful and listen to people and believe them when they talk about systems of oppression that they live in, that you don't. And it actually won't make you explode to say, wow, I guess I could inadvertently be a part of the problem, and I really need to make sure that I take steps so I don't continue to cause this problem that I say I don't want to be a part of. And what we sure as shit don't do, especially as white women, is explain in gruesome detail that is weirdly thought out all of the fantasies that we have about people who deny us access to them because they're frightened because of systemic oppression, and what the other might do to them just because they said they wouldn't pick us to be alone in a room with them. I can understand that whatever answer somebody who's lived through systemic racial oppression chooses in that scenario, even if I am among the group of people, they're like, yeah, I don't want to be in a room with you. I can understand they're not talking about me specifically, but people like me are very much a part of the problem. And if I want that to not be a problem anymore, I need to take the initiative to confront the people who are problematic with this behavior and do that work on my own. Because if I'm genuine about wanting people to be safe and not just soothing my own ego, I need to take the initiative as the person with privilege to eradicate that behavior, if it's as important to me as I allege it is in my indignation.
You're in a conference room alone.
No, that's fair. In every single viral video that I have seen of some woman freaking out, and as much as I absolutely love it when I see somebody's nervous system spasm and cause them to panic because they have realized that they are in a situation where they could be in danger of not being right. That's fair. It's usually somebody of the cum cricket complexion. So, as the gents said, I would never. I am mostly, but she doesn't know that. So note to self, if I ever go back to the office, I will never corner anybody. No, that's the wrong message to take away. That's not what that meant.
Asking, hey, black women, hey, you're at work.
The creator is talking about giving the scenario to black women. Would you rather be in a conference room with a white woman or a white man? And a lot of the consensus is that we would rather be in a room with a white man. And it's because, white men are more blatant, just like racism in the South. It's like less tricky than racism in the North. It's still racism. And so for me, I've worked in fashion for 12 years. I went to school with all white women. In college, and I grew up in an all black neighborhood, so that was a huge culture shock. But I will say that I agree. And I have best friends that are white. I have, coworkers that I learned so much from, so many people who I very deeply and intimately appreciate. However, there are so many, even the most people with the well intentions have so many blind spots. And I just think I had to come to the conclusion that I just don't trust white women unless they earn my trust. And I feel like I'm the opposite with black women. And most people, I'm a very trusting person. Maybe that's my naivete. Maybe that's my ADHD. But with white women, there's always a bit of and when I look back at my career and who has with me the most, it could just be proximity, but it's white women or it's people who align with whiteness. My first, but it was a different time. I forgive her, I guess. I don't know, but Yeah. So
You don't know what it is, a white man or a white woman.
I'm not going to generalize because not everyone is the same. And I wouldn't want someone to generalize and put me in a box that I don't belong. But one of my most traumatic experiences at work happened under a white supervisor, a white woman supervisor. And I'm not saying traumatic, like I'm not exaggerating. I could not believe the belittling, the microaggression, just the way that I was treated overall in academia. To the point that I'm trying still to fight the system, even though I don't work there anymore. As someone who has gone through a lot of struggles in life as a Black Latina, as it relates to having access and opportunities to spaces where people don't look like me, being homeless, trying to move up the ladder, getting a doctoral degree, because that's what society tells us to do. That's what she told me to be able to move up the ladder in academia. And then blatantly told me that I don't belong in those spaces because of the way that I look. And other things that are just so traumatic to recount. Anyway, get my book. It's called Leadership is a Responsibility. Unfortunately, I went and interviewed other Black women and women of color in the workplace. And unfortunately, it's a very common experience. Women of color are being treated miserably in workplaces. And I wrote a book about it. And to reflect on my own experience and their experience, the only thing that I could relate my experience to was The Handmaid's Tale, the dystopian nightmare that women were put through. And I created a fictional character, not a fictional character, but I named those white supervisors of Karen, coming from Karen, just to lead it, to give it a little bit of pop culture. In trying to, laugh at the misfortune and I guess to cope with it, because I needed to add a little detail and make the book interesting as I was recounting all of these traumatic events that happened at work. But yeah, that was my experience. And unfortunately, the experiences of many women that I interviewed for my book called Leadership is a Responsibility. It was tough, it was bad, it was inhumane, and it's still happening.
Wow. I want to know your own thought down in the comment section, but please keep it respectful as always. You're on the channel, we're allowed to disagree, and we're just having a conversation. So this is not yet of so is a racism war going on? No, 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 no. We're here to have a conversation because I know I have mixture of both black women and white women here in this community, and we're here for a conversation. Because I feel like when we had the conversation of the bear or the man, it was a bigger conversation for people to have. And I feel like this is a necessary conversation to have, especially as women, so that white women know their privilege and how it comes across, and black women are able to say, like, so we can get along. Because I feel like when these harder conversations are not able to be had, it makes it hard for us to move forward as women to support each other even more so that we can be a stronger unit as women. So with that all said, go down and share your thoughts, and let's be respectful. We're just here for conversation, okay? So I get where a lot of black women are coming from. And it's not because I live in America. I've never been to America, but I get where a lot of them are coming from because if you, I dive into the black cultural thing, and I'm really fascinated how things work over there and how the systemic racism work over there. But it also trickles down to how it even works in Africa. I would say Nigeria because I live in Nigeria, which I'm going to give you guys some couple of stories. So naturally, whether I would like it or not, whether I would want to admit racism it still exists in 2024, it still does. Certain people still feel like they are better than you because they are of a certain skin color, certain race than you are. And whether we want to admit or be puffed up the way society see black people, especially black women, in terms of the hierarchy of society, they usually put black women at the bottom. There's nobody below black women, because they'll put black men first before black women. So I get it why black women will say, you know what, I will feel safe with a white man rather than with a white woman, because like the case of the bear and the man, the white man, you can easily predict what he wants to do. Like, you know, okay, this white man, this is what he's going to do. But as a white woman, which there was a trend on TikTok a couple of years ago of how white women usually switch up on people. Like, you see, there was this trend where they would do, and they were like, they are laughing, and they're like, and that was really scary. We strike a bigger conversation. I think I did a video on that some years ago about that. But that was really scary for a lot of black people. And a lot of black people were saying that that is exactly what they are saying. And I also did a lot of video about Karens and how sometimes some of the most stupid thing, like really dumb thing, these people are going to, and the way they will switch the narrative, the story, when somebody comes to intervene, if not that the black person was recording, the way they switch it up, especially white women, which I have seen repeatedly on social media. And I'm not trying to generalize it to say, okay, it's all white women, but this is something that happened in the systemic racism that goes on in America. So on a white woman is being believed than a black woman. Until white women identify their privilege that they own, how society treats them different from a black woman, I don't think we're going to move on. As much as we're talking about how men treat women, how it's not good, till white women get it, and even till other race women get it, that there's a systemic racism, colorism that goes on in the world, in the society, so that we can get along. I'm going to give you guys this story. I was saying that this thing happens also in Africa too, because I like it on the, when a white woman, not all, some white women come to Africa, they feel like they are better than us, the black women here. A couple of months ago, I went on a girls' trip with my girl, Maria. You guys might know her, Maria Davids. Yeah, she's my girl. I know some of you guys have seen some like hints. Yes, that's my girl. Like, that's my girl. Okay, so went on a trip. I went to some West African countries. Had a blast in that trip. And one thing I would say is for sure is that with all the people we interacted with and all that, there was this incident that we went down, the hotel we were staying, we went down to have breakfast, and there were different people there, but the one person that gave us a nasty stare is a white woman. And myself and Mary were like, really? And I feel like they've been getting away with it since, because of the way the system works, that a white woman feel like they can stare down a black woman, and a black woman will just go into her share. But your girls know who they are, and what they carry. And this was the way the eye contact she was giving us, trying to make us feel uncomfortable. But we could not, we didn't feel uncomfortable. We were very, very and like the other sister said, aggressive. Like we were just living our life, living our best life, having breakfast, having our conversation, having fun. But this white woman was uncomfortable. At first, she was staring at us just to stare us down so that we can keep quiet, or maybe don't laugh, don't kiki kaka. We're on vacation. So we're going to kiki kaka. We're going to eat. We're going to be loud the way we want to be. She was staring us down to make us feel uncomfortable, but we stared her down. She now started feeling uncomfortable, and she couldn't really take it. And for me, myself and Maria, we had that conversation already when we came back. We were like, the most people that gave us attitude going, just traveling, because when I like some West Africa countries, especially West Africa countries that's French speaking, they have a lot of white people there. Don't ask me what they are doing there, okay? Don't ask me what they are doing there, but they have a lot of white people there. And we're having a conversation where we're talking about the people that made us feel most uncomfortable were white women. Just moving around. In Africa, was white women. A white man, yes, we just smell like, I know that. A white woman, the attitude, there's this smile they do. They'll give them, and the face is stone again, I know that. So, yeah, I kind of get where a lot of this conversation is coming from, but I feel like this is a conversation we should have as women, and this is going to just help us move forward and work together better. So know your power, know your privilege you have as a white woman, and be able to work with people in your community to educate them, to probably change the systemic madness that is going on, because it's going on, it's reality. So whether people want to admit it and say, oh, how can black women do da 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 da, this is their reality. And if you really want us to work together and do things together and stand in solidarity together, then you guys need to know how it works, because sometimes some of you guys can be so blindsided and feel like, really, does that happen? Yes. The Euphoria Foundation also show that some, but like, I don't see anything wrong with that. There are some black women that looks and that shit. Really, that just shows how some white women still don't get it. Anyway, guys, go on and share your thoughts. Share this video with someone. Give this video a thumbs up, okay? Because all this helps my channel. So when you share it, you comment, you give it a thumbs up, all that, and even subscribe, all that help my channel. So go on and do that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Deuces.